Right, we got Chris over here helping us. He come in from Texas, and we put the fuel rail together. We're using the regulator there. We got the end fuel, goes around, it goes around, it stops, it's blocked over here. That's how it's going to do, and it's going to return out the bottom. And then Willis put the dipstick, the transmission dipstick, the torque converter, and stuff like that on it. Yeah. Yeah,
we still got a while to go before
we jacked the car up real high. We put it on these big old jack stands. They go real high, just right there. And then we pushed everything under the car, and now we're lowering the car back down on top of it. And then you got to watch on this side, make sure you don't hit your brake lines. And the way we took this steering rack off, Chris is gonna, as I lower the car, he's gonna guide it into that right there.
You're gonna have to turn the steering wheel though.
Yeah, I might have to turn the steering wheel some. And Willis is gonna watch, and he's gonna line up this dowel pin on both sides with that hole up there.
Willis is gonna do what?
Yeah, you want to line that dowel pin up with that with these holes as it comes down. Here we go. Chris got the steering thing on there. I mean, you can do that. You can actually drop the steering wheel inside the cab, and it'll help put that on. But that way, you don't have to take the lower dash apart and the steering column and lower it and stuff like that inside the car. It just makes it easier. And Chris made sure the lines lined up. Willis watched the dowel pin over there, and he had to push the body this way to help Chris have room over here. And then once we got it close, we lined up the dowel pins just by sliding these back and forth. And it lined up on the dowel pins, and we dropped her down. Now, once we get the bolts in, the 3 bolts, and get those tightened up, then we'll worry about lifting. We'll jack it up from the K member, and with just a regular jack, and then we'll stab these, and then we'll put those in last. All right, I got this side popped in. Got to pop that side in. It's been a little tricky. We're going to have to, I'm going to jack it up and put jack stands under it a little bit. That way I can push it down further to push the top in to get the, see, all this has to go that way. You can see I'm hitting on the thing right there, and I can't get that to go down to push that in because the bolt got stuck in the hole. I need that bolt to go there. All right, it took me pushing down with my foot right here, and then Chris pushed in at the top, and it finally went in. We had to fight with this one. Sometimes they'll go right in, sometimes you gotta fight them. But yeah, we got those in, and the 6 bolts tight. Now we just need to do the transmission cross member. Here we are back with Willis's 1993 Camaro. We got the ECM in, we got it all wired up. I got to wire the speedometer up still. We got the fuel pump. We got the computer all wired in. The fuel pump's working, it's kicking on. But our starter isn't kicking on, so either we put a new ignition switch in it. I don't know if I got it adjusted correctly or what's going on. This is a stick shift. It was originally a stick shift car. So it's got a little more safety switches that got to be dealt with before power will get to the starter. I put a resistor in the vats. We measured the key pellet, and I had a pack of resistors. We found one that would fit in the area that it should be for his key pellet. And it still ain't cranking over, but it seems everything else is working. The fuel pump's kicking on and everything like that. So whoever had this car before had cut wires and unplugged wires and done everything else underneath that dash. And It took me forever to figure out what plugged into what, because it's kind of weird. One plug-in, two plug-ins plug into it, but one of the plug-ins hang off the plug-in, and blah, 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 blah. And I was just gonna, on the 94 and up, this is a 93, it's a little bit different. There's a relay back behind here. There's a starter relay, and you can, to bypass the BCM, the body control module, that keeps the relay from kicking on if it doesn't see the right VATS pellet, blah, blah, blah. The computer doesn't tell it. It communicates with the computer and everything. Blah, blah, it won't turn the starter on. But you can bypass that relay. And it's supposed to have a purple wire. The two I pulled out of there, one's for the hatch. I'm pretty sure that's the one for the hatch. And maybe that's the one for the fuel pump. I don't know. But there's supposed to be one with a big purple wire. A big purple wire. And it must be in a different place on the 93, because it's supposed to go through the ignition on the column. Well, ignition switch on the column. That anti-theft starter relay that the BCM and the computer communicate with. Then it goes to the clutch switch. Then it goes to the starter. So we're going to have to trace back where it's not getting power through. But I cannot find that relay on this 1993. It should have that big purple wire. Just the purple wire. We can find the purple wire going into the clutch switch, but we have to trace it back from there. Or we might have to trace it back from way over there. Is there to crank? So this is the starter relay on a 93. What threw me off, I figured it's what it was. But it's got yellow wires. The mine is a 96. It's got a purple wire, a big purple wire, just like the one that runs to the starter, like this big one right here. So the computer and the body control module, which is right here, that box up there, tell this thing, this wire right here, this small yellow and black one, to ground out and let the starter turn. And for some reason it wasn't grounding out, even though we've got the resistor in there for the VATS. I don't know why. Maybe the computer, a different computer, was keeping it from grounding out. I don't know. But maybe theft deterrent, I've got all that wired in. Maybe the theft deterrent isn't turned on that computer. I don't know. But if you want to bypass all that, you just take this small yellow and black wire and go straight to ground with it. Boom, done. Got that computer off of Austin, and he said it was one of them that I've unlocked and tuned before. I can't see that because this is a 93. It's got the 12-pin OBD port, OBD1 port, and I need a 16-pin to be able to hook the computer up. I got one of those at the house, but I brought the computer to hook to it, and I forgot all about that, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, we're not sure how long the gas is set in this thing. But it's got oil in it. He's buttoning up a vacuum hose over there so it ain't leaking. And we're going to hook the fuel lines up, put the spark plug wires in it, and see if it'll start. So y'all see the legit first try to start it. Whether it starts or not, I'm not sure. I don't know. That's actually stock tuned sloppy stage 2 cam should start and run. It might not run the best, but it should start and run. It should.
How tight's this got to be?
That's one I've tuned before. There was one on Austin's car before. I don't think I tuned on it when he had the 98 ECM. He switched to a 99 ECM, so because those only go to 2 bar, the 99 through 02 ECMs, they go to 3 bar. He was doing turbo, he switched computers, blah, blah, blah. I'm not sure if I tuned on the 98 computer or not, but if I did, this, and the gas is good, this thing should start and run good. Video this.
Huh?
I got video of this. Yeah. Okay, wait a minute. I don't think our coils are firing, so we're trying to figure that out. Start because I think the VATS is turned on in the ECM, and for some reason, yeah, we're gonna have to turn the VATS off. So this is a 93, so it's OBD1. It's got the 12-pin port. Well, we need a 16-pin port, so we're gonna take this out and put a 16-pin in it. See what that does. All right, so we put the OBD2 port in there. It took me a while to figure that one out because stupid me, there's two serial ports that come out of this computer. One of them says on lt1swap.com, not for F-body. Well, I used the one not for F-body, so we just trying to figure out why the computer wouldn't read forever. And then I finally saw that, and I was like, blue 58. We got our wired, I spliced straight into it on the computer and went powering around straight to the battery. Still couldn't get it to read, so yeah, I had it in the one that said for not for F-body, so we moved it over there. Pulled the tune, we did some retuning, should have made a video of that, I didn't. Maybe one day I'll do a full video on doing this. When we do this, I do open loop speed density, so it never uses the mass airflow sensor, the oxygen sensors, or anything like that. But yeah, it should start now. I didn't have the injector data I needed, and I didn't have, I did change the injector size. Those are the 36-pound flex fuel injectors, right? 36 pound.
Yep.
And I don't know what our fuel pressure is because our gauge is broke, but I've used that fuel pressure gauge before, and I set it at 50, but I set it at 50 with a big pump, so I don't know. We'll see if it starts. You want to give her a go or what?
Yeah, is it ready?
It's ready, I think.
Got batteries, but don't shut off.
It'll shut off. Y'all receiving it live first time. Well, second time it didn't start because the tune had the VATS turned on. Yeah. Wait. Turn the key off and prime it again. Do that a couple times. Then try again. Why not? You got a plug wire off back here. It's still fighting us. Willis is changing the crank sensor because it wasn't reading any RPM, nor was the crank sensor responding. And our coils ain't firing. If the crank sensor ain't reading it, the coils won't fire. But if you guys were wondering how to hook up an OBD2 port and a car not equipped with them, these two right here, here's the front of it, those two right there, was it 4 and 5 I think? Let's zoom in on it. Yeah, 4 and 5, those go to ground. This number 2 goes to the silicon. Oh, we're now focus. This number 2, right there, that black and white wire, goes to your serial data port, which on these LS ACMs is blue 58. And then this orange one, which is it's on the back side, number 15. Or no, wait a minute. Yeah, this side. Right there, number 16. Yeah, it's in 16. That one goes to a constant 12 volt source. And that's it. So, number 2 to this blue 58 on the ECM in our case. These 4 and 5 to ground, 16 to constant power, and that's it. You'll notice I cut that one and I cut that one. We're not using them. And that's our ground up here. We had 2 extra wires. There's not a 12 volt on this 12 pin. I don't know what the black and white one is, but that's all we needed right there, and it works. I think number 3 or 4 or 5, I can't remember. Is it reading spark?
No.
Well, you gotta turn the sensor.
That sensor was
Out here messing with a Willis's swap. As you saw there, we couldn't get it started. And I did some looking in the tune, and it's not getting any spark or RPM at all. Well, where's that come from? That comes from the crankshaft position sensor. So the way it all starts is it doesn't do anything until that crankshaft sensor starts reading. Crankshaft sensor starts reading, it jumps over to the cam. The cam crank sees signal, jumps to the cam sees signal, and then it turns on the fuel injectors and the coils. So that's why we wasn't getting nothing out of the coils. Now I had to change one of those sensors. I got to thinking, and I'm pretty sure I changed the cam sensor. Now I got to looking. We don't have wire loom over the part that goes to that crank sensor. And look, that was the sensor I changed. Now I've got all these marked. How we got that mixed up is beyond me. And it might have been me, it might have been Willis, I don't know. See, they're all marked. Well, I get down there and I take the crankshaft sensor off. I go to looking at it, and it says cam on it. Whoops. So now I get to undo everything he did in that wire loom, pull them both out, put them in the correct spot, and reach them back behind these F bodies, and unplugging that is not a fun task. To get the cam sensor off, I have to take the intake off because my arms are too short and fat to get back there. And Willis has wrapped the brake booster hose around some wires. You never want to do that. You want to take that brake booster, you want to be able to easily take that brake booster line out and back in with the intake, because it's impossible to put that on the back of the intake on these F-body cars when the intake's on. So we'll have to figure out how to get that off, because it's got wires running over top of it, and I think one of them's the oil pressure sensor wire, and then there's the big Luma wires, which wouldn't be a big deal because I could probably slide it out from under that, but I can't slide it out from under where that goes over and the oil pressure sensor goes over it. I don't want to break, that's just one wire goes to that. I don't want to break that. But anyway, making progress. That was some doing. We got her back together. Now we'll see if we're getting RPM and crank signal. Okay, we got cranking RPM now. And this number over here should move to crank sensor. Fault with this fuel rail, and it's still leaking. We're going to make the stock one work, but check it out.
Ready?
Hit it, Willis. Got oil pressure? Huh? Does it got oil pressure in there? Yeah, it's leaking fuel bad. But it runs. It idles good. I hit that. It wasn't without a fight. That thing fought us pretty hard. And it was our mistakes. Unfortunately, we got the crank and cam sensor. Those connectors, those are identical. If y'all keep up with the channel, I had took that harness completely apart and went through it and set it up for open loop speed density, which means it doesn't use the mass airflow, doesn't use the oxygen sensors, etc. And we put it back on the motor without it loomed. And then we put it on the motor on the engine stand. I said, go ahead and loom it from there. We need to drop all that in with the motor, because on a 4th Gen F body, it's hard to get back there behind the engine to do anything. You usually have to take the fuel rails and the intake off. But we had them switched around somehow. I had them clearly marked. But if you glance at it, I guess camshaft and crankshaft can look kind of the same. So, but we got that fixed. We bought 2 different fuel rails for that thing off of eBay and Amazon or whatnot, whatever. I forget exactly which one. It was one of the 2, one of the cheap knockoff ones, which is what I run on my car, and it's never leaked. But both of his leaked, so we're going to put the LS1 fuel rail back on it, and we're just going to buy the adapter where we can put the regulator right on the end. There is a piece on them LS1 fuel rails. It looks like a regulator, but from what I understand, it's not. The regulator on the LS1 F-body cars is back by the tank, from what I'm told. I've never actually fooled with that on a LS1 car, but on the LT1 cars, it's behind the intake. The regulator is, but that's just I forget exactly what it's called, but it tries to even out the fuel pressure from side to side. It doesn't regulate the fuel. It just tries to just even it out per rail. So if you got 50 pounds, it tries to put 50 pounds. It tries to regulate it on each side of the fuel rail at 50. Now, if you got 40, it tries to keep it even from side to side of the fuel rail. That's what that does, what I'm told anyway, or what Google said, whatever, whatnot. But yeah, it's running. It sounds pretty good. I revved it up a little bit. It's holding good oil pressure. Just like I said, we just need to button up the transmission lines, transmission cooler, the radiator, put some coolant, do some tuning, and put the computer tray in, put the computer where it's supposed to go. It should be good to go. But those videos will be coming up, so if y'all want to check that out, like and subscribe. Have a great day.